Greetings. I am Erin Patten, metaphysical master in a millennial age, and it is my life's purpose to guide you and organizations along an enlightened path. So I invite you to sit comfortably and tune in as I welcome you to the Meta Business Millennial, where we get the real conversations you won't get in the boardroom so that we understand this is exactly the path we need to be on in order to grow, evolve, and thrive. Greetings. I am Erin Patten, also known as Master L, and welcome to the Meta Business Millennial podcast. And today we are pre-recorded because right now, in all transparency and honesty, because that is who I am and that is what I stand for, I am in court. I am in court right now. If you're watching this right now, that is what I'm doing. I have been in an ongoing custody battle legal situation for years now, and I've talked about it on previous podcasts. And let me just let you know that I am thriving. We are on the other side of it, yet the proceedings must still go down. And so, all of you who are listening, definitely send me love, send me light, lift me up because we are winning. Okay. We are winning. Good always prevails. The truth always prevails. And for those of you who are new to the show, you can follow us at the Meta Business Millennial Podcast. Definitely like this video if you feel called to. Subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that at I am Erin Patten across social media channels. And of course, if you want to converse with me, DM me, leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. And with all of that out of the way, all of that truth, all of that revealing vulnerability, which I'm always speaking to, let's get into our today's topic because I am really a channel. I really am and a channel for all of you that don't know what a channel is I really connect directly into source. I connect directly into God and I speak the truth that is coming through me. And right now, I am involved in lots of different things. Of course, my own business, but also some extracurricular business volunteer activities. And one thing that's really bubbling to the surface for me, and that's really manifesting in these other aspects of my work, is leading with compassion. There are so many of us as leaders, so many of us as executives, as founders, as entrepreneurs who are really smart. We work really hard. We have really big dreams, yet they are not doing the work. And I speak to this a lot. And the work is the healing work. The work is understanding what it means to have empathy, what it means to have compassion. And that is critical in these days and times. And it's critical because it allows resolution, it allows compromise, and it allows progress. When we are not embodying compassion, we're not practicing compassion, there is a lot of confusion, there is a lot of chaos, there is a lot of uncertainty, and then shit doesn't get resolved. It just perpetuates. And one thing that I like to remind us of is that trauma, this chaos, it thrives in silence. And I understand this and I know this to be true because of my own life, my own upbringing. And I'll speak to it very directly that, when I was growing up, my sister was murdered when I was 6. My father went to federal prison. My mom was dealing with mental illness around it all, understandably. And I was directed and really forced to not speak about any of it. Actually, I never spoke my sister's name again. Erica, I'll say it now, Erica. I never spoke Erica's name again in my household. And when I was, prompted about like, where's your dad? How's your dad doing? Oh, he's on a business trip. I lied. So the trauma thrived in my silence, in my suppression, and in my secrets. And a lot of us knowingly and unknowingly operate in this fashion because Maybe we're told that people don't want to hear your shit, people don't want to hear your problems, but that could be further from the truth, farthest from the truth, at least when you're in my circle. And I hope that at this point, you're surrounding yourself with people who want to hear your truth, who want to hear what you're going through, because that is how we move past the trauma. That is how we experience higher vibrational emotions, such as compassion and empathy. That is the only way to that. And the more that we hold on to our traumas, the more we hold on to those secrets, the more they fester and the more it becomes dis-ease. And we call it disease, we call it illness, we call it high blood pressure, stroke, heart attack, mental illness, because we are suppressing our wounds. And the best way to go about opening up those wounds, if you will, is to talk to someone. And of course, I'm one of those professionals that you could talk to, at erinpatten.com. Message me, contact me. Yet there are so many other therapists, healers, psychologists, modern psychologists, so many coaches, life coaches, all kinds of trauma coaches that are available to support you, energetic coaches. I mean, I can keep going because even in my own work, even though this is what I do, I still have support. Obviously, I was just telling you guys I'm in court today. So, I'm having support through this, not just lawyers. I have my energetic support as well, my energetic mentors, my energetic coaches, to allow me the safe space to talk about what I'm going through, to process the emotions so that I can rise into higher levels of awareness of myself and what I'm going through to then experience higher emotions such as compassion and empathy so that I can show up to you today and say I'm a winner. Despite me being and going what I'm going through, I didn't already won and know it with absolute certainty and truth. And this is what happens when we do the healing work. There is no more animosity, there is no more blame, judgment, punishment. Those are lower vibrational frequencies that no longer serve us in this day and time. And it's really contrary to how we grew up, most of us, particularly millennials and other generations, even the Gen Zs and stuff, like a lot of us were punished. And I'm still moving away from this as a mother with a child. This punishment aspect does not solve any problems. We think that punishment, it may solve the problem in the moment. You get that control and dominance in the moment. I was punished all the time. Grounded, when I was really young, spanked, all those things, yelled at, all the things. Yet that, again, is a way to just have control in the moment. It doesn't resolve the problem, the root of the problem. And as leaders, enlightened leaders, particularly in this day and time, we are about solving problems, resolution, higher thoughts of being and frequencies and existing, understanding that we're moving into a five-dimensional plane and that we have to be able to embody that 5D consciousness, which does not include violence and punishment and ridicule and judgment. Those are not 5D attributes. And and so as I'm kind of like moving through this because it's really heavy on me, this these energies of not having the compassion, because then we all feel it. We all feel the heaviness. And when we're not speaking it, when it's not being spoken, it is still being felt. As a leader, and you're coming into your boardroom, you're coming into your office, you're coming into your meeting, and you're not living in your truth, you're carrying whatever, baggage you had from a situation, it is felt. And it's not necessary that you would talk about it to all your employees or your constituents or the people in your organization. That's not necessarily a requirement. That's not what I'm saying here. However, you do need to talk about it with somebody. You do need to speak to it with someone that you trust. Speak to it, work through it, and heal from it, nurture it, so that when you are showing up in your organization, when you are showing up in front of other people, you can be seen in truth. No hiding, no running from those heavy emotions. And maybe I can bring up more examples around this because stories and narratives are always kind of the best ways to lock in things. You know, when when I was going through my own kind of journey, and I love to use my own examples around this, especially with the hair products. Let me talk about my hair product business because that's something that I really haven't spoken a lot about because it was so traumatic for me. It was my first company. It was something that was really built on my own personal traumatic story and history around being told in my first job in New York City that my hair, curly afro, was inappropriate for the work environment and it violated company policies. So I spent like much of my 20s, straightening my hair like it is now, which I love. It's totally beautiful like this. Um, yet there was also me hiding an aspect of myself that I felt like wasn't accepted, which is very different from the experience I'm having now with the straight hair. And so by the time I got, out of Harvard, this was really the inception of my healing journey post Harvard. I began to wear my hair natural. I actually cut it all off again and grew it back making my own hair products. I was in a very horrible relationship at the time because it was a reflection of my being, of my unhealed traumatic being, that I allowed this person to live with me, really take advantage of my kindness and my generosity. And when I started the company, allowed him to be a co-founder in my story, in my company that I 100% funded, that I 100% put all my energy and thought process into and making the products because I was the one with the natural hair. And continue to do this and really front like it was the both of us when it really was just me. And I want to relate this back to leading with compassion because at that time I was not leading from compassion. I was leading from fear. And I'm working through this now because I really haven't talked about this story out loud, to be honest. And when I say I was leading from fear, it was fear of really being seen. I had to have this person next to me who was completely taking advantage of a situation just to feel safe? What? I had to take a deep breath on that one because that just shows you where I came from. That I had to bring somebody along with me who was taking advantage of me just to feel safe. So my whole orientation around safety and security was completely unaligned with truth. There couldn't have been anything more unsafe, more insecure, more false than that situation. And I always say that, I shut down the company because of all the, horrible things that were happening in my family, which is very true. My father passed away. One of my best friends was murdered. My mom, a few months later, when we were launching the full product line, attempted suicide. So there were all these signals that this was not the right time to start this hair product company, in addition to the fact that you were doing it with someone that is not aligned with you. And I would have persisted had it not been for my mama. Persisted in falseness, persisted in hiding myself with someone who didn't deserve the spotlight with me, who hadn't contributed, who was literally just riding the train that I was literally had built and constructed and was driving myself. That is leadership from fear. And I'm not saying that this is anyone else's exact story because everyone's story is different, yet the energies are still the same. When I stopped doing that business, I did not speak about this in this way. I blamed it on other things. Oh, I was just like, oh, I can't do the hair products because I got to take care of my mom. Oh, I got to take care of my mom. And also, I was doing this company with someone I didn't want to, was my like 50-50 partner on paper, filed to the state of Michigan. I actually went to court over that too. Never talked about that. That was embarrassing. It was shameful. My whole life story and journey around my hair, around my identity, around something that I nurtured for years, taken from me by somebody who was just greedy. And I allowed it. That is leading from fear, insecurity. That was me. And I learned from that experience a deep, painful learning that I still feel in my heart right now. I'm pretty sure y'all watching this can see it in my eyes. Almost is bringing me to tears. I really have never told anybody this because it was so shameful. And of course, everyone I talk about it a little bit, and people are like, "Oh, Erin, like you should know not to give your company away, and you should know this, this, this." Yeah, you should know, but it's really a hard thing when you don't have the energetic capacity to say no. I did not have the capacity to set boundaries. I did not have the capacity. I did not have the experience. I did not have the modeling of boundaries. I had never It was not part of my awareness, my skill set at that time. So I had to learn it the hard way and lost my dream in the process. The beauty brand was a dream of mine. It still is. Like to this day, people still ask me for these hair products. And people still, I'm still like nurturing my hair and trying new styles and going to and doing things with my hair because I love fashion and beauty. Since I was a little girl, being in beauty pageants, I felt like that's my first calling, y'all, and it's still gonna happen. But that was such a heartbreaking experience. And so I say all that and share that story to articulate that there is absolutely a path forward from leading from with fear, leading from a wounded feminine, leading from a wounded masculine, because it was me. And if I can do it, you can do it too. I always like to say that. If I can do it, you can do it too. And I I embody this compassion because of me doing the healing work, me understanding that that person at that time was dealing with a lot. I really hadn't even talked at that point about my childhood traumas or really I had just started working with a therapist for the first time in my life when I was doing that business. And I really want to credit that business with beginning and the inception of my healing journey, because being an entrepreneur requires a significant amount of self-development because you're putting yourself out there to be seen as the salesperson, as the spokesperson of the business. And so I since that time have learned so much about what it means to lead with compassion, to see other people where they are, to call out they bullshit, call them out. And maybe not directly to them, but at least to yourself. There is nothing wrong with knowing and speaking the truth, calling out the bullshit and deciding whether or not you want to move forward with it. Can the bullshit be resolved? Likely, it depends on you, where you are, and where they are. And so that is essentially what the compassion is. It's not necessarily about turning the other cheek, because I think a lot of people get confused around what compassion is and who God is and what these teachings really mean. It doesn't make you a doormat. Actually, it's the exact opposite. It makes you very sound and very honest about your boundaries, where you stand, what you stand for, what you won't stand for, and giving you the courage to communicate it kindly or as best as you can. And I'm saying this so emphatically and so passionately, obviously, because I care about all these things. That's why I show up here every Monday and I post these clips, because I really care that people understand what it means to be a better man, to be a better woman, be their best self. And it takes work. It takes daily work. It takes minute work. It takes every second work to be more aware of yourself, to be more aware of your emotions, good or bad. We are where we are. We at where we at. And so that is part of the compassionate leadership journey, is first having compassion for yourself, having compassion to see where you are. Like how I just shared with you that very personal story about where I was in my first company with the hair products, leading from fear and insecurity, losing it all for that reason. But nothing is ever lost. Let me just say that. Nothing is ever lost. It's just on hold for me. Like I just said, those hair products are absolutely coming back better, bigger and better, more luxurious, more aligned with me, and it'll be all me. So just because it's not happening for you right now doesn't mean that it won't happen. And that's where the compassion comes in. And that's what I've especially learned on this metaphysical master journey. Y'all can see my views. Y'all can see my followers. I'm going to be real transparent right now. I just feel the energy. I be getting 6, 7 views on these YouTube videos. I'm not even going to lie. My following, I got 5,000 followers on Instagram. That ain't shit. Okay? Compared to like influencers and people who are international keynote speakers like me, they have hundreds of thousands of followers and millions of views. And do you know how much that used to pain me? Because also I wasn't really necessarily to like, I know sometimes you can get agencies and other people to kind of boost things for you. I really wanted to grow organically and have been working really hard. Like that's what it felt like, working really hard to do that. And then I just had to have compassion for myself and see that, wow, Erin, not only are you showing up, you're consistent, you're speaking your truth, you look beautiful doing it. The people will come when it's time. And that's something that I've learned truly to trust in on this metaphysical journey, is when the right time, place, and condition are aligned, it will all manifest in perfect harmony. When the time, place, and conditioned are aligned, it will all manifest in perfect harmony, because that is a promise and a law of the universe. What my godmama, Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks, she likes to call it, or in her books, she calls it deliberate creation. And Up until now, well, I shouldn't say now, but up until like the hair products, up until I was doing that business, I likely was doing a lot of unconscious creation, non-deliberate creation, which is how I ended up in such a horrible relationship. I did not want that, but there I was. And I held on to it because I didn't know anything better. And I actually tried to get out when I couldn't. And that's a conversation for a different day. And now I am a deliberate creator. I'm very aware of my thoughts. I'm very aware of how I feel. And I know that all that I ever have dreamed of for myself in its highest form will manifest. Because that's another thing when I talked about manifestation, like all our dreams, you want our dreams of reality, and then we get mad when our dreams have come true because that probably wasn't the highest form of that dream for you. And I can't tell you since I've started even this metaphysical journey how it has evolved. I started as a coach, coaching women in my Soulful Accelerator. The Soulful Accelerator program and the tenets and the methodology still exist, but it's not the same. It has vastly evolved. Now I'm doing meta business, leadership, executive work. Very different. And I'm so grateful for that because this is where I feel my most alive, my most fulfilled, my most aligned. And so that is part of also the timing is making sure that your dreams are actually in alignment with your highest self, your highest being. This is the healing work. As you're lifting your vibration, you're opening your awareness, expanding your awareness, your dreams also evolve. Your visions also become much more clear. And it likely changes, it shifts from where it was. So that's why you can't be mad when things don't happen the way they should right now, because there's likely something bigger and better for you down the line. And I don't even want to say likely, there is absolutely something, probably someone bigger and better for you down the line. And I trust this. I know this to be true because I've experienced it. I've lived it. I've learned it. I've embodied it. And this is all part of that compassionate journey for self. When we're talking about leading with compassion, leading others, seeing others with compassion, it first starts with yourself. And so I know we're kind of coming up on time here, so I'm going to wrap it up a little bit. And I want to end with encouraging you to really take the time to love yourself this week. I don't know what that looks like for you because I probably am going to need it too, particularly after this court date. And what it's going to look like for me is I'm traveling. I'm going to travel to Tampa. I'll probably post about it. And I'm going to be with my healers and my mentors in Tampa, Florida, Max and Jasmine. And I talk about them before on the show. And I'll be bringing my son with me. And I'll be eating good food. I'll be doing some ceremony. I'll be resting. I will be contemplating and reflecting on how I want to show up in my next iteration as a international keynote corporate speaker. And really refining the words that I want to speak in these settings, refining the themes that are coming forth for me, coming forth for the collective, and how I will essentially strategize and begin processing around this vision of mine, this higher vision of mine that is so aligned with who I am right now. I got a little taste of it a few weeks ago, giving my keynote in Fort Worth, and now I already know, and doing my keynote reel, and now I know this is for me. Being an international corporate keynote speaker is for me, and I'm so grateful for that. It started back when I was doing the hair product company. I was doing some workshops and I was doing speaking and I was getting paid for it amazingly. And now it is my reality. And so that is how I will be loving on myself in this week. And I want to encourage you as a compassionate, as an enlightened leader, that is moving towards leadership with compassion, leading with compassion, what will you do for yourself to show yourself love? Will it be just doing the nurturing things, the self-care things? Will it be taking some time off from the day-to-day work to really imagine a bigger, brighter vision for your business? Will it be assessing who do you have in your camp that maybe needs to step it up a little bit or fall off or come along with you? Some self-evaluation, some self-reflection is part of that showing yourself love, showing yourself compassion, and being honest in that process. Because no one else is going to be honest with you but you. You know what I'm saying? So I really thank all of you for tuning into this episode. This was a very vulnerable, passionate, love filled episode for me. I had to just take a deep sigh on that because, like I said, I just channel what comes through me. I channel what God, has for me to share with all of you, what I feel comfortable sharing with all of you, what I need to heal and express in a vulnerable way. And this is my practice just as it is yours. This school on earth are so many lessons, so many opportunities to practice. And I appreciate the platform that this podcast gives me to practice these very things. And so thank you for being there with me. Thank you for holding space for me. Thank you for listening. And if you haven't already, certainly follow me at I am Erin Patten. Check out my offerings at erinpatten.com. I have my keynote options, of course, that I was just speaking to as the Meta Business VIP Day. I do deeper strategy work in my meta strategy, vision, and values work. And of course, one-on-one coaching is absolutely offered for folks that are ready to take themselves and their business organizations to the next level. So with that, I love you all so much. I'll check you out next week on the Meta Business Millennial Podcast. Peace. Did you really love this episode of the Meta Business Millennial Podcast? Well, I am honored, and I appreciate you subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it with your friends, because your feedback allows us to co-create more enlightened conversations. And if you're interested in growing your soul now, head over to my website, erinpatten.com, to find all the show notes, links, and free resources to get your energy activated today. In the meantime, stay bright, my friends. Much love and light. Peace.